Salam alaikum. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you're joining from. It's once again a pleasure to have you all here. Normally, when we do sessions in the physical environment, the speakers like we feed off that energy. Today, probably with the Zoom going on, it's difficult to feed off the energy. So I want to do one thing. Let's check whether Zoom really is strong and stable enough, right? I want all of you to unmute, okay? After I tell you to unmute, okay? This is my volume button on the speaker of my computer, okay? So this is 0 and this is full volume. And as the volume keeps increasing, you have to say, oh, not om. No, I'm an Indian, but I'm doing yoga here. Just oh, okay? Ready? So when this is here, it has to be 0, pin drop silence. And when it is here, it has to be the maximum volume. Let's see, wake up the people in your house. They might think you've gone crazy. All entrepreneurs are supposed to be crazy. So I think that's perfectly fine. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Unmute yourself. Oh, it's on 0. It's on 0. Okay. Now, yeah, go ahead. I can't hear you. Louder. Louder. Okay. Good. Thank you. This, okay. Someone's still on. Thank you so much, my friends. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You got muted. You got muted,
Yeah.
Pradeep.
Now, am I okay? Yeah, good. Oh, I got muted, is it? Oh, shit. Okay, can we do this once more? You need to make the noise. Unmute yourself. Ready? This is 0, and you have to make O, and let me hear the loudest noise. You are the people who are going to make a dent in the universe, and let me feel that energy that will make the dent. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Good. Thank you. Mute. Good. Thank you. I would have expected much more from the future Zuckerbergs and future Elon Musks who are going to go and change the world. But for now, I think it's okay. I can see Jeremy constantly looking behind his door, wondering if the people in the house may come up and wonder what's going on with Jeremy. So thank you so much. That's the wonder of having your cameras on. Those of you, my friends, who have not put your cameras on, please put it on. So I feel I am talking to human beings. At the end of the day, presentation is all about the human touch. It's about human beings and connecting with those humans. Because this is one thing AI can never do. Any of you who's doing a pitch with the AI, I'm sure AI can never replicate this human-to-human connect, and I think that's what we're going to try to do today. So I'll share my screen. All set. Okay. And I say F5. Cool. You can see my screen. Perfect. So can I ask, yeah, Jeremy, you're going to be my partner, wingman for today, right? So anything that needs to do with validation, whether you can see my screen or no, you will tell yes or no, right? Fair enough, Jeremy? Cool.
Yes.
My name is Pradeep Yuvraj, and for the next 2 hours or so, what we're going to try to do is to learn multiple skills relating to presentation and storytelling. I am in a kind of a small dilemma because after having seen the presentations that all of you have submitted, there are some of you who are far ahead in your presentation skills. I was wondering, what is it that I can teach you? There are some of you who are probably somewhere there, need to move ahead and probably come forward. And for them, so what I'm going to try to do is to see if I can balance the whole thing. So those of you, like my friend Samantha from Austin and Austin from Oregon, right? They're experts in design. So I don't know what I can teach them about design. Their whole business revolves around design. So I'm in a little shaky ground. So help me out, Samantha. I would probably ask your help, especially when we're talking about design, right? And see if you can help me down, right? So what we're going to do today is to learn about the art and the science of pitching and everything in between. There's a lot in between. It's like black and white, and then there's a lot of gray when you talk about the art and the science of pitching. And I use the word art and science because a lot of it is from your heart. It's about your style. It's about your way of putting things across. Some of things can be taught to people. Some things come out of your experiences. Some can be taught. So I will try to balance teaching those two things to you today, so all of you can do these three things at the end of today. One, I will help you all become storytellers. To some extent, you're all storytellers already. I will see if I can dig into that pile of pressure that the world and business and schooling and college has put on you and made that 5-year-old who was a great storyteller 20 years ago, now not a storyteller. So I will try to dig in and bring in that diamond. The second thing we will try to do is to help you design awesome slides, right? So this is purely tactical stuff. The moment we finish the workshop, you go and work on your deck. Maybe you will see like a 10% difference what you are now and what you were before. To become a storyteller will take some time. It's more conceptual. It's a lot of your inherent philosophies that have to change, which will take some time. We will try to work on them. And finally, we will try to see how to be a rock star on stage, or rather, should I rephrase, to be a rock star on Zoom, given the scenario that probably things, the way things look like, I don't think for the next 6-7 months we are going to be away from Zoom, not for too early for sure, right? The fact that you're all winners, I see www all over on the screen, is validation enough that you're all superhero startups. My job that Ty has entrusted on me is to see if I can make you superhero presenters. So conditions apply. The conditions are that you have to do a lot of homework and effort. So don't come back to me asking for a refund of your training fees, which you didn't pay, by the way, right? Cool. So before we start off, let's do some mental exercises. Can all of you pick up a sheet of paper and pen? An activity that I always love to do with people, those of you who have been part of my sessions. Reshma is wondering what to do. Hi Reshma, what are you thinking? Kumaran G, you look like two twins or something, right?
No, sir, nothing.
Cool.
Nothing.
Can you? Cool. I hope all of you have a sheet of paper and pen. Amazing. Okay. Can you please draw this shape on your paper? You don't need to draw the shading, but just draw the outline of the shape. Just draw the shape. Am I audible enough, Jeremy? Just do a thumbs up. Yeah. Wingman. Wingman. Cool. Great. So if you guys have done it, can you please divide the blue part into two equal similar looking parts? Please divide the blue into two equal similar looking parts. Both of them have to be equal. They have to look similar. Looks like Jeremy is done. Malika is done. Charan, you done? Just do a thumbs up if you're done. Is that the answer all of you got? Cool. Now, can you please divide the green into three equal similar looking parts? Three equal similar looking parts. The green alone. You don't need to do the shading, just do the ticking. Jeremy, you have copied your answers or something. You're just looking there and then you're looking back here.
Looking at my paper. I was looking at.
Now you know why I called you my wingman. You can't leave my attention today. Cool. I hope this is the answer that all of you got. Brilliant. Now can you please divide the red into four equal similar looking parts? I repeat, four equal similar looking parts. The red into four equal similar looking parts. Divide just the red portion into four parts, all the four equal and similar looking. Anyone? If you're done, you can show it to me on the screen. Come on, IIT Mumbai. Great. Okay, Samir, hold it off. No, Stuart, if you look at it, there are two triangles that are similar and the other two are similar. I want all the four to be similar. All the four to be similar and equal. A little closer, Ankush. Little closer, Ankush, little closer. No, Ankush, you can see there are 2 right angle triangles and there are 2 equilateral triangles. I need 4 equal, all the 4 to be similar. I need all the 4 to be similar. Anyone else? Yeah, can you bring it a little closer, Jeremy? Can't see it, Jeremy. No, Jeremy, there are 2 small L's and there are 2 big L's. I need all the 4 to be similar. Can you see it? You have 2 small ones and 2 big ones, right? I need all the 4 to be equal and similar. Oh, by the way, I remember Jeremy and Amelia. No, not you guys, right? That was Dubai team. The Dubai team is not here. Cool. Anyone? $1,000 cash prize offered by my friend Samir from IIT Mumbai. Now, Roy, there are 2 right angle triangles and 2 equilateral triangles. Look at it. Two are the similar, the other 2 are similar. I want all the 4 to be equal and similar looking. Okay, because we are on a tight leash on time. My friend Samantha, the artist, is trying to get a hang of it. Samantha, go for it. No? Okay.
I don't think I have it.
Okay, not an issue. And here's the answer. 1L, 2L, 3L, and 4Ls. I have divided the red into 4 equal, similar looking parts. Now, can you, my dear friends, divide the yellow into 7 equal, similar looking parts? 7 equal, similar looking parts. All those 7 need to be the same. They need to look similar. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Can all of you please put both your hands up in the air that I can see them? Please put your hands up in the air. Yeah, let me see the hands up in the air. Perfect. If I had asked this, and don't put it down till I tell you. No, don't put it down. If I had asked this question to my 5-year-old niece or 5th grade niece or nephew, he would have given me the answer very easily. What is it? 6 straight lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Either horizontal lines or vertical lines. Please put your hands down to divide the yellow box into 7 equal, similar looking parts. Do you all agree that a 5th grader could have easily done it? Yes or no? Show me a thumbs up if you think yes. Yes? So why is it that we all so-called entrepreneurs with PhDs and MBAs and MFAs and whatnot are not able to do what a 5th grader could do? You can unmute and keep letting me know.
Because
yes?
the challenge specifically primes you to not think that way by giving you a complicated geometry beforehand.
Oh wow! You used all your PhD words that I couldn't understand half of it, but yes, absolutely, Aaron. You will know in a little bit why I have that fear of the PhD. Okay, I'll let you know in a few minutes from now. Cool. Kanchan says kids are more innovative. Right. If I were to take 3 lessons from this exercise, why is my mouse not working? Cool. Oops. Yeah. So if I were to take 3 lessons out of the small activity that's for probably younger children, lesson number 1 is this fear of simplicity that we all have. Somehow our training, our experience, our education has made us think complex. And these lessons are very strong for presentation skills as well. The best presenters are the ones who simplify stuff for their audience. The best entrepreneurs are the ones who simplify business for their customers, right? Learn to be simple. It's the most toughest thing to be simple. There is always a simple answer, but maybe because of all the experience that we have, of the biases that we have, we think that there's always a complex answer. Find a simple answer. Lesson number 2, looking at things from a 360-degree perspective. Can you please hold the sheet that you have in front of your face so that you can look at the drawing? Hold it in front of you. Yeah, so that you can see the drawing. And now please rotate it 90-degree anti-clockwise. Jeremy, look at it yourself. Look at the drawing yourself. Yeah, rotate it 90-degree anti-clockwise. I will probably do it for you. Can you see it on my screen? Just ignore the yellow part. Can you see the answer for the third problem right there? Ignore the yellow part and see the answer for the third red problem right there in front of you. Can you see it? Right? 99% of times in life, the solutions to our problems are right there in our hands. But the fact that we don't look at it from all the 360-degree perspectives, we miss out on finding those answers staring right in front of us. And it's very important for a presenter to look at all the perspectives. Like I said today, I have someone who's probably I would rate 2 on a scale of 10 on presentation design, and I have someone who I would probably rate 15 on a scale of 10 on presentation design, right? So as your facilitator, it is my job to look at it from all the 360-degree perspectives so I can balance it out and ensure that all of you take home some value out of it. And the third part is the fact that you all assume. What did you assume? Anyone? Yeah, Brian, what did all of us assume? Brian from Dallas.
It was going to be a really complex answer.
Right. So we assume that the previous one was complex, so the next one will be even more complex, right? When you learned mathematics, assume x equal to so-and-so and y equal to so-and-so was great, but in real life, assumptions don't work. And the biggest place where I see startups doing assumptions is in their market sizes. They assume that, okay, there are 100,000 people, 10% of that is easily achievable, so I will get 1,000 people or 10,000 people, and those are all my customers. That really doesn't happen. I've been a salesman all my life. I know if I meet 100 customers, I sell to probably 2 of them. And I think that's the fear with assumptions. It is making an ass out of you and me. So stop assuming, find out the facts before you go out there doing those presentations. Perfect. So my name is Pradeep Yuvraj. I am a storyteller. I run this company called Presentim. We are an 11-year-old company that's still in startup mode. We build PowerPoints and presentations for people. After having worked for almost 7.5 years with large corporations, including Shell, ExxonMobil, and Total, I took the plunge to be an entrepreneur after reading Guy Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The sad thing is I read it halfway and I quit. I should have read it full way. I am a forced serial entrepreneur. I never thought I will become an entrepreneur in the first place. I was forced because my first venture failed, then my second venture failed, my third venture failed. So then I got this fancy tag called serial entrepreneur. It's very fancy, but at the end of the day, it's just to denote the failures probably that you have had and the successes. I was lucky that I learned those mistakes, failed 3 times, and then the next 3 ventures were positive exits. I earned some small money out of them, and for the last 11 years, I've been spending my time with Presentim. I'm an electronics engineer from the University of Pune, and I've done my master's in business administration from Symbiosis, and I'm a dropout in PhD. RM, that's why I told you about the PhD part, right? So after 6 months, my guide was clueless as to what I was doing. I was clueless, and then I realized that all the best guys like Zuckerberg and probably Steve Jobs, they all dropped out of school, so they became great. So I said, okay, let me drop out. And so I dropped out of the only thing that I could, and that was my PhD. So somewhere down the line, maybe one day I get famous, I will get an honorary PhD for sure. I call myself an Adipata entrepreneur, which is in Tamil called someone who's beaten up and bashed up. Life has beaten and bashed me up to teach me all those important skills. For the last 7 years, we have helped 300 plus startups raise over 350 crores of Indian rupees, which roughly works out around $40 million. 50% of my clients are still have stopped wanting or asking for money. That's the funny game with the F game, the fundraising game. Some of them are still clueless. Some of them have changed their business. Only 5% ended up actually raising money. And the moral of the story that I want all of you to take from this is that funding is not the end of it. It's just a part of the journey. Don't ever put your startup in a position where you think funding is the end of the game. Funding is not. It's just the start of the game. Everything else starts after that. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just because everyone else is getting funded, you need to be funded. See whether there's a valid reason you need to be funded, whether there's a valid proposition to it, and then go ahead and get it done. So I have divided my talk into 5 different parts today. like Dr. Paul Lopez, who runs the Red Curtain Theater. So Act 1 to Act 5. Act 1 to Act 4 is for all my friends who are here on the call. Act 5 is only for the people with their W's in front of their name. We will actually go into workshop mode and do some practice sessions so that you can get prepared for your finals and all those things. So probably around 80 minutes on Act 1 to 4, and then probably around 30 minutes on Act 5. Purely voluntary. If you want to stay, you can stay, and then we'll work on it. And because I've been given a responsibility of trying to compress a lot of knowledge from generations of people and leaders into 2 hours, what I've done is to see if I can structure this so that you can go back home and follow some of these things using something else. So I love books, and I think books are the best way to give structure. So I have taken 2 books for the Ayn Rand part, which is, I've used the name Ayn Rand because this is the philosophical part where I'm going to talk about qualitative things, not really skills, but qualitative things that maybe you know, maybe you do not know. I will try to give you my perspective of the whole thing. So I've taken 2 books, which will probably set the base for you to do all the tactical stuff that the trainers coming in the next few days will tell you. Because these are the fundamental things that you need to have in you as a leader, as a human being. And if these are strong, then doing anything that everyone else teaches you tactically is going to be pretty straightforward. So the first book that I would like to follow is this book called A Whole New Mind by Daniel Pink. And Daniel Pink talks about the conceptual age. In the 1900s, we had the industrial age. You produce something like the Ford T model, and then you duplicated it multiple times. The late 90s brought the information age, where technology was coming more faster into our life. The late 2010s and 2015s brought in the data age, where data became king, or data became the new oil. People took data and they tried to do business using whatever was there on that data. But what Daniel Pink says is that the next 20, 30 years will be ruled by the right brainers, the people who are storytellers, people who are the teachers, the people who don't do things the same way everyone else does. It will be ruled by the right brainers. So what he says is, if you want to be a great leader, and if you think you are a left brainer, you have to train yourself in the skill and the art of being a right brainer. And what does Daniel Pink talk about? The attributes of right brainers. The 6 attributes he talks about are design, story, symphony, empathy, play, and finally meaning. So what do these things mean to you and me? I will probably speak for 5 minutes, and then maybe you can share some examples where those relate to you, and you can tell me what it means. Daniel Pink says that in the conceptual age, one of the biggest attributes that a great leader will have to have is a strong sense of design. Design, there's always design everywhere. For a long time, we've all thought design is more about the good looks and aesthetics and fashion model and all that. But design is there even in the presentation remote that I'm holding in my hand. It's there in the monitor that you use. The design is there in the lobby of the hotel where you go and check in, right? The way the person who has built it has designed it so that it can not only be aesthetically great, but it can also be functionally great. So whenever you are starting a project, especially for those of us who are engineers here, we always start with building the engine or building the product and then finally thinking about design. Daniel Pink says, start off with design. Look at the final product. How is the user going to use it? What is going to be the things that make him happy? Start off with design as the first thing whenever you start a project. Am I right, Samantha? My artist friend. Perfect. Good. The second part that Daniel Pink says is the ability to tell stories, right? What is storytelling? Can anyone of you tell me what is storytelling? My friend, whom can I call? Ajay from Mumbai. What is storytelling? If I were to use one word to define storytelling, what would be that one word? You can put it in your chat, those of you. If I were to ask you to give me one word, what storytelling is, what would be that? Narrative, great. Humane,
Emotion,
great.
no?
Relating, great. I'm sorry, someone spoke, I didn't see. Sorry, you
I
spoke?
said emotion. Yeah, I said
Immersive,
emotion.
right?
You want?
Okay, engaging, yeah. Cool. I think Kanchan gave kind of the answer. Stories are nothing but humanizing those things that cannot be told in any other way, right? It is humanizing or making it humane, making people relate to it. That's what stories are. Abstract things do not necessarily relate to people, but stories relate to us, because that's how we have been ingrained. Our brain has been trained for the past million years to look at stories and learn from them. From the caveman, it started when he drew all those drawings on the caves. That was where storytelling started. So brain has been kind of, trained to look at stories and use stories as its way of moving forward. The third thing that Daniel Pink talks about is the ability to see symphony in everything. Let me ask you one question. I'm giving you two contexts. Context number one is when I show you this picture as a full image and then chop it into pieces and ask you to build the puzzle. Situation A. Situation B is when I give the chopped pieces to you and tell you to put it together. Which situation do you think you will be able to put it faster? A or B? A, okay. A. Great. Why? Because in situation A, I gave you the big picture first, and then I went into the 30 feet narrow view. So go always with the 30,000 feet view. Show the big picture to your audience. Like today, I started off saying that the big picture is that I'm going to help you become storytellers. I'm going to help you design better slides, and I'm going to make you rock stars on the stage. So that's the big picture. Many of us, because of our education, we tend to go into the micro first, and then we come to the big picture. But by then, the audience has lost its attention, because there's one question that the audience is always asking you, which is, what's in it for me? Every single person looking at your presentation has this one solid question going on in his or mind, saying, what is in it for me? Or what we call as the why question. Simon Sinek, if you go and look at the net, Simon Sinek says start with the why. The why is nothing but answering the question to people, saying, what's in it for me? Number 4, Daniel Pink talks about the right brain thinker having empathy for his audience, or for having empathy in all ways. What is empathy? But nothing but putting yourself in the shoes of the other person. We also call it the curse of knowledge, right? A lot of you who are scientists and who are engineers and who have produced those chemicals, you know them by name, you know them by technology, but maybe the judge or the jury member sitting there, poor guy, or girl or lady, doesn't understand what it means. So maybe if I were to ask, let's ask my friend from Udaipur. Where's my friend from Udaipur? I can't see him here. Is the team from Udaipur here on the call? I can't see them here. Great. Let's check with Surya Bharat. What is it that you're doing? What's your startup about?
Sir, it's an agriculture-based project, sir.
Right. What does it do?
So basically, we try to reuse the agri-waste into useful fibers, sir. So we are just working on a mechanism to convert it into useful fibers.
Right. So if you look at it from a third-person perspective, let's say I have Craig from New York being as the jury member or the judge on that particular competition when you're pitching, Bharat, and for Craig to really think and recognize what you're talking about may not be really possible, because maybe he's not related with agriculture. Maybe he doesn't relate the Indian context. So for all of you, especially in this competition, you have to understand that your judges may be from different countries. So they may not understand the cultural context. They may not understand the pain problems that you have, like the team from Mumbai, right? The challenge that you're solving is an India-specific challenge, but it's so big that it's good enough to make big money. But the judge sitting in America might say, I don't have this challenge in America, so why should this become a great business, right? So from an international perspective as well, it's very important that you empathize with the other person. Put yourself into his or her shoes, understand and look at it from his perspective. So then you will see the world in a very different way. Number 5. Oops, why is it not working again? So, yeah. The now 5th attribute that Daniel Pink talks about is play, right? Business meetings are supposed to be gray suits and gray ties and dark blue suits and dark blue shirt and light shirts. Be formal, look snobbish, or the tight upper lip kinds, right? That's what we have always been told. But just look at yourself, look at the times when you have got the best ideas, where they, in a situation where you were boxed in a room, forced by 10 terrorists with guns and said, okay, come on, David Smith, give me an idea, give me a business idea. Or was it when you were like joyfully free, when you were playing around, when you were laughing out, and when you had humor? I'm sure all of us would agree that when you are under stress, the best thing doesn't come out. So for a great speaker, for a great presenter, play is necessary. And for right brain thinkers, it's even more a big attribute that they bring in play in everything that they do. Everything is not formal, everything is not serious. You don't have to be serious. Bring in humor into what you do. Some of the best speakers that we like and love are people who bring in humor. But let me warn you, humor, don't mistake humor for jokes, okay? I see a lot of people come with jokes because they want, someone told them that there has to be humor. Try to look at the situation. And the best thing I have learned, especially in an international scenario, is to make fun of yourself. I like to call myself the idiot. I would never dare call any of you on the call as an idiot, right? Because then no one can come back and tell me how come you call yourself an idiot. So make fun of yourself. Try to find the humor in those situations and see if you can leverage it to your benefit. And finally, what Daniel Pink says is that everything that you do has to make meaning. I think each of us at some point of time are driven by one question. Why are we all here? What am I doing on earth? Where did I come from? What is next, right? All of us fundamentally are wired with that question that says, is there meaning in it? Do I want to do something about it? Do I want to give back to society? What is going to be my legacy? So if anything that you do doesn't make meaning to the person sitting in front of you, which is your audience, in this current context, which is your judges or the jury members, then probably you've lost that human connect. The moment you lose the connect, then even if your business is $1 billion business, you may not get funded. It's always about the connect. Without the connect, nothing works. It's like electronics. You can have 1,000 volts of electricity here, but if there's no connect with the bulb doesn't glow. As simple and as straightforward as that. So try to see if what you do makes meaning for someone else. Does it change someone's life? And if it changes, how? And bring that how and bring that why, then people will start looking at your business and your startup with a very different perspective. Perfect? So the 6 things that Daniel Pink talks about is design, symphony, empathy, story, symphony, empathy, play, and meaning, right? So these are the 6 attributes that that good presenters, good storytellers, good right brain thinkers have. What he tells is left brain thinkers also can become those people with these kind of attributes. The reason I chose the book is so that after today's session, if you really want to go and pursue it, it's easy. Order it on Amazon or whatever. In India, it comes to around $4 or $5. Just buy the book, read it. I'm sure it's a book worth reading and imbibing into it. For those of you who are not book readers, Oprah Winfrey has done an interview with Daniel Pink where he talks about the whole thing and why he came about with it. Go watch that video and you will be better off, right? Cool. The second book that I wanted to talk to you about, and like I said, this is the Ayn Rand part where it's about philosophy. These are things that you need to imbibe over a long-term period. It will not change overnight. What Chip Heath and Dan Heath, professors in the US, did was they went and interviewed hundreds and thousands of CEOs and leaders and saw all those different captions and messages that over the years have stuck to people's mind. So that's why the topic, title of the book, Made to Stick, right? What is it that makes something stick to people's mind? I have a dream, said Robert Downey. Oh shit, why do I always keep saying Robert Downey? Dr. Paul, you'll have to help me here, right? Sorry.
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King, sorry. Martin Luther, sorry. Yeah, Martin Luther, sorry. So I have a dream. Why did that stick? Or when JFK said that we will put a man on moon in the next 10 years and bring him back safely, right? Why did those ideas stick? Why do we get all those forwards in the email where they tell you that if you go to the cinema theater, you will be poked with a needle that will give you some kind of a virus. Why do you always get those forwards where NASA predicts that tomorrow if you walk out into the hot sun, you will get burned because the UV rays coming out, right? What is it that makes these messages stick more than messages that you and I want to stick, right? All of us want our business messages to stick to people, but many times they don't stick. So what Chip Heath and Dan Heath did is they tried to see if there is something which is a common point in all these different messages that made them stick. And they came up with a small acronym that's like SUCCES without the last S. So the first S stands for simple, right? Messages that are simple always stick. The more you complicate messages, the more they don't stick. For example, when Southwest Airlines had a tag which used to be called the budget airline. Simple, straightforward. Anyone who looks at it understands what it means, right? They could have said, fly like a king, or be airborne, or whatever, right? Any complex terminologies that they could have used, but that didn't stick. What stuck was a very simple line that said, the budget airline. Try to see if you can simplify your messaging into the simplest form that you can make it, and then go ahead and simplify it further, like my friend Albert Einstein said, right? Simplify it down to the most shortest way or simplest way you can do it, and then go ahead and do it. And from life, I have learned that simplifying things is the most complicated and the most sophisticated thing. Mahatma Gandhi, simple message. I will not raise my hand when my enemy raises my hand. Simple. He could have told us that it's good to be peaceful and blah 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 in all kind of abstract terms. He gave a simple message saying that if my enemy slaps me, I will show him my neck, the other cheek. Simple, clear message that tells that don't raise your hands. Number two, messages that stick are always messages that are unexpected, that make the audience go, wow, really? Right? These are those messages that break the pattern. One of the examples that Chip Heath and Dan Heath do in the book is they tell a very simple story. They start off with a simple story. There's this guy who goes to Las Vegas, goes to a bar, gets drunk, and then the next thing he realizes, he wakes up in a bathtub, lying in a pool of blood. And luckily there's a phone next to it, and as all American movies have told me, he dials 911. Right? So the operator on the other side says, just put your hands behind your back and see if there's a tube. And it says, yes, I can see a tube. Oh my God, you've been part of a kidney heist which has been going on in Las Vegas, right? This story has been told for generations and generations. And why did it stick? Because it broke the unexpected thing that, okay, normally you would have thought a guy gets drunk on free drinks and then he ends up with a partner or whatever. Right here, the message broke the pattern. When John F. Kennedy said that we will put man on space or on moon, the unexpected happened. People didn't think, everyone was thinking about putting man into space in the first place. And here was a guy who came with the message saying that I'll put a man on the moon, and more importantly, I'll bring him back. Number three, what Chip Heath and Dan Heath say is that messages that stick are concrete messages. So what is concrete? Anything that is not abstract is concrete, is what I would say. For example, the Aesop's fables, right? The Aesop's fable is almost 2,500 years old, and yet even today, when my father or my mother teach my daughter about not being a bad loser, they tell the story of the fox and the grapes, right? It was an abstract concept which says, don't be a bad loser, don't be a negative loser, by giving excuses that the grapes are sour. How did this stick? Because they took an abstract concept which was basically saying that don't be a loser, gave it a concreteness by putting in the fox and the grapes in your mind. So you could give it a shape and you could give it a structure. And you remember, even today, if any of your probably friends would ask you, I think the first example that would come is the sour grape story. Why? Because it was concrete. Number four, messages that are sticky are also credible. How do you bring credibility? Like in the John F. Kennedy case, it was because Kennedy said that. If Pradeep Yuvraj had said that we will put man on the moon, or Dr. Paul Lopez had said, I will put man on the moon and I will bring him back, no one would take it. But when it comes from a credible source, then it amplifies the stickiness. Which is why, my friends in India, you will all agree that all of us get these WhatsApp forwards where NASA tells me that in Coimbatore, in a particular town, if I go there, I will be burnt to death because of the UV rays. I've always wondered, why is that NASA has nothing else than to tell me what to do in Coimbatore, right? These are those fast forwards that you get, and their credibility is brought in by that single word that says NASA said this. In your pictures, in your stories, if you can bring in the aspect of references, like for example, today, if I were to tell you that I came up with this success acronym, I don't think half of you would believe me and listen to me. But when I said two professors from America, Chip Heath and Dan Heath, there's a credibility that's built into that message. So build in credibility by either connecting with someone who's of a stature or some institution that brings in. Some of you have been doing that in your pictures where you have said that it has been validated by the University of so-and-so, it has been validated by the government, by the FDA or whatever. Bring in more credibility into whatever you speak. Number 5, they use the example of Mother Teresa. I don't know how many of you remember, Mother Teresa once said that, show me the mass and I cannot do anything, but show me the one and I can do something about it. What does it really mean? So let's say I tell you there are 500,000 children dying right now in Nigeria because of hunger. Probably all of us would feel bad, but we would move on and go ahead with work. But if I were to show you one hungry child saying this is, let's give him Philip as a name. This is Philip, and for the last 15 weeks, Philip has had only 1 square meal a day. Can you help Philip? Would you act? The possibilities that you would act are much higher because now there's an emotional bonding to it. There's a concreteness to it. You have a structure, you have a shape. 5 million children doesn't have a structure, doesn't have a shape. So as the human mind is not able to comprehend it that. So try to make your messages as emotional as possible because emotions is what connects to human beings and they're the things that will help you move forward. And finally, they also come to the point that become storytellers, tell stories. Stories are the only things that have survived wars and that have survived the Ice Age and the Stone Age or whatever ages that you want to call. So they have survived the conquest of different enemies from the beyond the borders. Learn to be a storyteller. Perfect. What's the time? I think, am I on time? I am on time. Perfect. Cool. So let's just do a small exercise now again. Yeah, if you could look at me here. Perfect. What I want you to do is when I say 1, I want to clap once. When I say 2, I want you to clap twice. When I say 3, I want you to clap thrice. And when I say 4, I don't want you to clap. Clear? 1 clap, 2 clap, 3 clap, 4 nothing. Right? Get set. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4. Taylor, no clap on 4. 3. 3, 2, 1. 1. Samir, 1 means 1. 1, 3, 2. Cool. If you want to take a 2-minute break, you can take a 2-minute break, go to the restroom, have a cup of water, come back, and we will start in exactly 120 seconds. Go ahead, take a walk, get up, do some exercises.
For those of, and when they come back, just ask them to fill out the startup bootcamp spreadsheet that I put in the chat room for all teams over the next 20 minutes. Pradeep, you probably need a glass of water. Or tea or whatever.
I have mine. I have mine.
Okay.
It's of using images, right? A lot of us are lazy. We go to Google or to any search engine that you would use. And when you say someone says partnership, you end up downloading all these kind of abstract images. The image that's on the left-hand corner is like the 99% image, right? Whenever someone wants to talk about partnership, you will see two guys or two ladies shaking hand, right? But like I said, these don't relate to my heart. I am not able to bring the human connection to this. So how do you use images? use images that people can imagine themselves and put a structure. So for example, I would use this image when I want to talk about partnership. 8 guys rowing at the same time, doing the same thing in synchronous is nothing but partnership, is nothing but team. So now I have given a human form to it. I have made it, like my friend Kanchan said, I have given a humane aspect to something that was an abstract concept called partnership. That is what the power of images are. Use images in such a way that they bring in the human connect to people, that there's more, lesser abstractness and more humanness to that concept. How do you build these slides? Sketch them. Even if your drawing is bad, pathetic, it's okay. The more you draw, the more the ideas come out. Brainstorming, if you look at it, when you do it through computers and when you do it with pencils and sketches, the results are totally different. That's the power of drawing and writing. Storyboard everything like the movie stars used to do, right? Scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, scene 5. A lot of us do not know or do not use the slide sort of view on PowerPoint. When you put the slide sort of view, what happens is you bring in symphony now because you're able to see the big picture. Then you can move slide A and B and C and D here and there, because now you know that, okay, slide D doesn't fit in after A, but it fits in after E, because you have the big picture. So always storyboard, then move around your storyboard. So easiest way is to use post-it notes, and then you move around the post-it notes. Finally, be ruthless. It's your baby, it's your PowerPoint, it's your slide, but you have to cut, chop, edit, delete, till you can like make it like sugarcane juice, that you crush it so bad that only the thing that the audience wants to drink is there, and nothing more and nothing less. It's a very difficult thing, especially when you have taken a lot of efforts to build a PowerPoint. You say, okay, let me put just that one more slide. Okay, just one more slide, and just one small report, let me put it. And then you end up adding so much layers to it, you defeat the whole purpose of communicating the messages. So let me summarize. Let me summarize this part of the Act 2, Act 3 by saying visual slides, make your slides as visual as possible. Remove all words. If they don't communicate anything, chuck them. Number 2, one idea per slide. Do not put more than one idea per slide. And number 3, remember that we are in the conceptual age, and it's the right brain that will probably bring you leadership. And like I said, these lessons that I have tried to teach you are not only from the perspective of pitching, but I want you to use them when you're going for sales, when you're going for meeting your employees, when you're going to meet your customers, when you're going to meet an NGO to do a bond, do a partnership, right? So those are the places where what my friend Stuart said, number of slides will not matter. What will matter is the human connect, and what will matter is the story, right? At the end of the day, if you can put the story there, if you can bring the human connect, it will just be wow. And let me close with these lines, which is that every presenter has the potential to be great. There is no presenter who is not great, who cannot be great. Stuart, when communicating financials, should we apply these rules and not show Excel? Absolutely. I would say that, Stuart, digest the Excel, digest the data, and just give the meaning of the data. It's like, I'll give you the metaphor of sugarcane juice, right? The sugarcane is the data. But what do I want? If I'm thirsty, if you give me the sugarcane, what will I do? I can probably do nothing if my teeth are not strong. But the moment you crush it and give me juice, I can drink it. It makes meaning to me. So crush the data, get the juice out, and just give the juice to the jury members. Don't give them the data. If you want to give the data, you can always validate that, saying that, okay, I have it in my appendix. If you want it, I'll mail it to you. But don't put it on a slide just because you can copy and paste in Excel. Don't, because that means you have not done your homework. Your job is basically to crush that and give the juice. Simple. Use this metaphor always when you work with data. Remember the sugar cane. I don't know whether the Americans really relate to a sugar cane as a metaphor. Maybe let me use it this way. Someone's very hungry. Would you give him potatoes or would you give him French fries? Right? So your jury is hungry. Just give them French fries. Don't give them a potato. It doesn't make any sense to them. They don't care whether it came from potatoes. Have asked the speakers tomorrow to speak how to show finance. Yeah. Yes, that's something that you will see tomorrow. How do you show your financials is what some of the investors will speak tomorrow and day after tomorrow. But from a visual perspective, I would say if you can digest that whole thing and just give the final part that people just drink it and consume. That's what is your job as a presenter. So I now come to Act 3, which is Steve Jobs. Steve is probably the biggest artist on stage, my friend whom we lost, which is nothing but presentation delivery. And especially now that the context is very different, the context is Zoom. I call this a Zoomtopia, right? It's so difficult. Earlier, if we were all trained, eye contact and body language and movement and all that your communications teacher taught you in school or on stage now has gone for a toss with the virtual world. You have people who are not even switching on their monitors. You don't know whether there's a real human sitting there, whether it is his mother or his father sitting there and listening to your talk. You really don't know, right? So some of the things that I would use in this context is, one, see if you can look at the camera and talk. I have kind of not been following that today because I have to constantly see you guys also on the screen that I have. My camera is a little on the top, but still, if you can see into the camera, then it looks like you are talking to their face and there's more attention. The second thing I would say is, like I'm doing today, right? I'm standing and talking. Well, one of the things that I have done today is I have broken a pattern. For a long time, you guys would have seen people sitting and talking on Zoom, and they're constantly looking down into their camera because all of them have their laptops, and many people would have their laptop tilted, so they're kind of looking into the camera and looking down upon you, kind of. Right now, I'm not looking down upon you, I'm looking up to you guys, right? That's kind of a visual language that's talking to you. And the fact that I'm standing gives me all the more option to move around, to show some action, which Zoom does not let you do that. So that is part number one. The part number two is to do your homework. Murphy's Law will always work. Just 15 minutes before today's call, my internet went bust because we had thunderstorms. I don't have internet right now. It's running on a bridge that is between 3 phones. So I have used 3 networks and bridged them to connect with you guys. So it will always go wrong. So make sure you have standbys. Make sure that you have a camera that looks good. Make sure if you are in a place where there's bright light so that you are more visible. Make sure there's not much happening behind you, because the judges don't want your father to be roaming around behind you when you're doing the session, or your mother or whoever, your boyfriend or whatever, in whatever context you want to do, right? So for me, what works is my TT table. So right now behind me is my ping pong table with a black cloth that's put there. So my virtual background works perfectly fine with just with a camera that I bought for like $250. So that's all that you need. You don't need hi-fi technology. You don't need a studio. But remember, Zoom has put all of us in a tough spot. It's very difficult to have people's attention span. So storytelling has all the more become more relevant. So putting slides there and sharing screen is actually scaring audiences now, because they don't see you. They just see your voice. They don't see your reactions. They don't see the smile on your face. They don't see the anger on your face. They don't feel the excitement on your body. So it's all the more difficult for you guys when you're doing it on Zoom. So the only solution to that is to practice, practice, practice. And I have this acronym for being on stage, which I call as the P. One, show a lot of passion. Show people that you are passionate about what you're talking about. All investors in a survey of 500 top investors came back saying that the first thing that I look at in entrepreneurs is, are they passionate about their idea? Everything else comes second. I always, whenever we have these Thai University programs, I quote one of the poets that comes from my state, which is Tamil Nadu. He says, Agni Kunjundru Kanden Yangur Katalur Vetain, Vendu Taninadu Kadu, Talal Veerathil Muppendru Mundo. What it translates is that I took an ember of fire, I went deep into the forest, I put the ember into the bark of a tree. And when I came back in the morning, the entire forest was burned down. That is the power of an ember. That what he actually used this as a metaphor for youth, for people like you, youngsters like you. That's the power you have to burn down an entire forest. A positive way, of course, right? That is the power of an idea. An idea can change the world. So, but how do you show people that that idea will change the world? By being passionate about it. It's like, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to change the world, right? You're telling something and your body is talking something else. I am going to change the world and you are going to help me because I have a dream. Now, passion is talking, it's coming out, and then people feel that nerve. that adrenaline coming up, like you go to movies after seeing Fast and Furious, and then you room on your car, right? Because the adrenaline is pumping now because of all the passion that you see on the screen. The second thing, show a lot of energy, right? Maybe you are an introvert, maybe you're an extrovert, doesn't matter. All of us have energy inside. Energy transfers to other people. The more energy you show, the more your audience gets energized. The more the audience gets energized, the more positivity flows to you. It works. And finally, show a lot of action like Superman, right? Movements with your hands, moving around here and there, taking a break, telling audience, look here, look there, do something like that. Of course, in a pitch context, it may not work. So don't tell your judges to step up and do some exercises. But yes, you can show some action and some movements so that people feel excited. I would like to close the first part of today's workshop by quoting our friend Steve Jobs, who said, let's make a dent in the universe. I would narrow it down. Let's all make a dent in our universe. If we can do that, I think that's enough. Don't go trying to change the world. Try to change the world around you. The bigger world will automatically change. So be a better storyteller, connect to people. Remember that the world may tell you that numbers matter, business matters, formality matters. At the end of the day, the person sitting on the other side is a human being. And unless until you do the human connect, you have not made a difference to his or her life. Then bring meaning into what you're doing. If they find meaning in what you're doing, they will follow you. People found meaning in Mahatma Gandhi, so they followed him. People found meaning in what Nelson Mandela did, they followed him. And that's what the power of meaning is, that people will follow you irrespective of you asking them to follow or not follow. So I'm done with the first part. The next part will be for the teams that are only the winners from each chapters. I think I have a few students there who are from not the winners. Dr. Lopez, what do you suggest? We do it with them as well, or?
Yeah, I think it's up to you, but let me just run a poll quickly on the workshop so we can always think about where we are. My objective in every workshop is, did you take away one thing you can act on starting Monday? And I know my answer, but it's always a good way of sort of positioning how people think about it, right? So if you'll all, looks like about another, I'll leave it open another 30 seconds, just give us status of whether you learned one thing, whether you can act on it. Pradeep, I'll ask a couple of questions, then we'll go to the last section and
Yes,
you
Dr.
decide who can stay.
I
How many of these rules are really hard rules, and are some of them a little flexible, etc., right?
Yeah.
Because you're
Absolutely.
a fast presenter, not everybody's a fast presenter.
Absolutely. I think I missed one disclaimer in the starting, is that whatever I say is 100% true and whatever I say is 100% false. So don't take it literally, right? You have to put the context. You have to put your style, your persona. Like I said, I'm a fast presenter. By birth, I'm hyperactive. So I can sometimes get away with it. Maybe it is not your style. So don't copy it, but try to see the philosophy behind those concepts. Like I said, number of slides can be immaterial because I want to break down my ideas into multiple points. It's not because I want to have a long presentation. So all these are fluid. There's no hard and fast rule ever. You have to gauge the pulse of the audience and then based on it do it. One of the things that helps us do that is by doing homework. Like I said today, I was in a big dilemma because some of your presentations are just wow. There's not much that I can actually add to them. So I was wondering, what do I do with these people? And that's why I said, let me kind of make it a little more conceptual, so that whatever I talk about today or whatever I give you today is something that you can use for your entire life and not for just this competition. That's why I didn't talk too much about pitching. I didn't talk about investments, because then it becomes narrow. Then there's not much that Pradeep can actually say that this is true or wrong. Because tomorrow one judge will come and tell you, why do you have 15 slides? I wanted 12 slides alone, right? So it's very subjective. At the same time, even in subjective context, if you get the philosophy right, then it will work. Like the concept of white space. In fact, a couple of my customers have ended up, after we building the PowerPoint and we discussing with them, that they've gone and said, chuck my PowerPoint into the basket. I want to tell a story. I will go and tell my story. Go ahead. If you think your product is so good, chuck the PowerPoint, go ahead and show the product to the jury members. Let them experience it, let them drink it, and then they will be bowled over. So there is no hard and fast rule that Dr. Paul Lopez or TIE University has said, you have to have 15 slides. It does not mean you have to have 15 slides. Go ahead and have the guy say, I don't want to have slides. I don't know, one of those talks in one of the TED Talks is where a gentleman talks about chemicals forming bonds, okay? Now the common perception would have been he would have put slides with carbon and hydrogen and oxygen atoms combining and making bonds. But what this gentleman did is he went ahead and hired, what do they call those, ballet dancers, okay? And as he was talking, ballet dancers behind him in different colors depicting oxygen and hydrogen were going and hugging each other and forming those bonds. As he was speaking, he says that there are two carbon atoms joining, there are two blacks going together. And then there's an oxygen atom coming in, there's a reaction. So if you think you can pull it off, one thing that is this, what that has, even if he didn't pull it off, the audience was awestruck because he broke the pattern. The moment you break the pattern, it's a small thin line between looking like the biggest idiot in the world and looking like the biggest genius in the world. But why worry? We entrepreneurs are people who like to take risks, right? Calculated risk, go ahead and take the risk. If you win, it's a big lottery. If you lose, it's a learning. Next time you know what not to do.
I'm going to end the polling in 5, 3, 2.
Only 33 of my friends have voted.
Okay. Well, the score is 4.7, by the way, with
Okay.
so in that regard, hopefully the real trick is go use some of this, as Pradeep said, not just for our pitch competition, though. I think tomorrow when you cover the 1-minute elevator pitch, you do it both for the competition as well as in life, right? If you go to a networking event, how do you get someone's attention in literally 60 seconds, right? So that's a piece you'll do tomorrow.
Thank you, Stuart. It's surprising that a Westerner is using the word sir. Normally in India only we use the word sir. I don't see Westerners using the word sir at all. So yeah.
I have a very close
Thank you so
friend
much.
who's Indian, and she told me.
Oh,
She told
okay,
me.
okay.
From Pune, actually. She lives in Pune.
Oh, wow. Oh, great.
Oh, that's
Cool.
right. Their COO, I think. So why don't you tell people what's coming up next, and we'll
so
run
for
that.
next
And yeah,
20 odd minutes. What I'm going to try to do is now we will narrow it down to the competition, which is basically all of you will have to make 1-minute elevator pitches as part of your competition. Also, you need to make those 10-minute presentations. So I will narrow it down to a very rigid structure of the presentation, try to give you a template, but fundamentally, I believe that templates are not it, right? If God had a template, all of us would look the same. We would all behave the same. God did not use templates because God didn't like them. I don't like them either. But because some of us still will take some time to get these concepts right, we will try to see if we can have a structure, and then we'll go ahead and do it. So I want to do breakout rooms for this. Darshak, you need to help me out with breakout rooms. What we can do is
just need one of the rooms.
No, I need like there are 40 people here. Let's assume 5 of them are the organizers. I need at least 7 or 8 or 10 rooms rather.
Any particular
Okay, so what-
naming?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you when to put the rooms on. Just be ready. I'll just get the next part. Those of my friends who are not the winners from the chapter, like I think I can see someone called Bharat from Coimbatore and Saravanan and someone with F. What is F? Finalist. Surya and Yeshwant. What you can do is you can be an audience. I request you not to speak in those breakout rooms. Let the winners speak so that they get some practice and then we all come back, right? So what we're going to do is first we'll start off with we are now into the workshop mode, which I call as the Act 4, which is fundas, right? In India, we have a slang for the word fundamentals, which is like people telling you what are the different fundas. So the fundas, particularly from an investment pitch, is what is it that investors are looking at? If you take an interview of the top 100 investors, they are not looking just at the idea. It's not the idea that really matters. It's the people who bring that idea. They're actually looking at you. They are looking at whether you are the right person or the right fit for their investment or their company. I like to use in the Indian context the metaphor of marriage, right? You are not looking whether the boy has a PhD or he has lots of education, but you're trying to look whether he's the right fit for you to be your husband or wife or whatever. So what are investors really looking for? Number one that most investors are looking for is passion. Are you driven by the idea that you have? Do you sleep, eat, and drink the idea that you have? Number two, do you have the necessary experience to take this, or do you have the experience at least to be mature enough to take your idea? It's not necessarily experience doing exactly what you're trying to pitch as an idea, but experience that can be related to the business that you're trying to do. Number three, do you have some skill sets that can help take this company or the idea to the next stage? Where you do not have the skill sets, do you have a team member who can build it? And that's where teams are important. Although it's again debatable, a lot of these most successful companies are the ones where they have had teams, because there are multiple people bringing in multiple skills. You have right brainers and left brainers. Not everyone is having both sides of brains operating. So it's good to have a team where one is skilled in a particular aspect and the other is skilled in a particular aspect. Number four that investors are looking at is, do you have those inherent leadership quality? What is leadership quality? Nothing but putting yourself in front when there are brickbats being thrown, and when there are applauses being thrown, you put yourself behind and put the team front, right? Fifth thing that investors are looking at is commitment. Especially with startups like yours, there's always a tendency saying that, okay, if you get placed in a big company, will you let go of this idea? Will you let go of this idea midway and go and grab that $1 million job offer that you get as CEO of some XYZ company? So are you really invested? Are you really invested in the relationship? Vision. Are you someone who just wants to make a few 100,000 or a few millions? Or do you have a vision of changing the world? Do you have a vision of changing the ecosystem? Do you have a vision of making life better for people? Investors are looking at vision. Investors are looking at people who are pragmatic. Are you realistic? That when you realize that it's not going the right way, you can raise your hands up and say, I'm sorry, I think we have made a mistake. Let's now not bleed further. Because sometimes optimism can actually blind you, and then it becomes unrealistic. So you have to be very pragmatic when the business is killing you. And finally, and this is from a very Indian context of having spoken to a lot of Indian investors I have seen, maybe this may be true for the US context as well. Investors are not coming there only to bring in their money to your business. They're coming there because they are now bitten by the love that you have for that idea of a business, right? And they expect you to be coachable, in the sense that, are you someone who will listen to their thoughts and their experiences and their maturity, and maybe not take decisions, but at least give them a year? It's very important. In the Indian context, I have a very nice anecdote where there's a company called housing.com. The founder was thrown out of the company that he founded in 4 years because the investors realized that he doesn't listen to anything that they say. It becomes very difficult because they have put their money at stake, and they will not let their money go waste if they think there's a small possibility of that. So as a startup, as an entrepreneur, your idea may be brilliant. You may be the guy who got the technology. You may be the guy who thought of the idea. But there are other people who have had other experiences. There are other people who have other empathies, other perspectives. Are you someone who can listen to it? That's something people are judging. These are very, what do you say, attributes that are more of your personality traits that they're looking at. These cannot be trained. These cannot be coached. These will come out in the way you deliver your talk. So, but understand, because they are human beings there and not a computer, they're looking at all these aspects when they're judging. It's not just that because your idea will earn them 10x of business, they're going to put your money. They're not going to make a beeline over you, because they don't invest in ideas, they invest in people. They want to know whether you are the right fit. I am the father of the bride, and are you the right fit? Are you the person right to be taking my daughter's hand? So now we come to part one, which is the elevator pitch, which a lot of you probably would have already done. Those of you who have not done, the context is simple, that you get into the elevator with the CEO or an investor. You have like 7 floors before the lift reaches, so around 30 seconds, considering which lift you are in or which floor you're going on. And you have to convince him or her about your idea. So that's the elevator pitch. That's something that's a summary of your business that can be said in under 35 seconds is what I would say. A lot of people would say probably a minute, because sometimes you don't have more than 35 seconds to really bring in. But what is an elevator pitch? Please understand, it's not something that will bring you investment. It is not something that will get your company funded. It's something that will open a door. That's all. You have to understand that's the limit that an elevator pitch can do. So just given that much so that the door is open saying that, okay, come meet me. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a coffee. Let's have a discussion. So don't get confused. A lot of people get confused that elevator pitches and pitch decks will give you funding. No, they don't. They're just one step in the cogwheel. There are multiple other steps. They're just door openers, so to say. If you were to ask me what an elevator pitch is, I would say making it human. Making the person say, oh, wow, oh, really? Okay, yeah, let us talk, right? So you put some excitement into them, you put a fear into them, you put an anxiety into them, you make them say, wow. And then you tell them that this wow is because you are there, and then give a call to action, which is the structure that I've used from a speaker that did the same workshop the last time, which was about elevator pitches. So he's given a template. Like I said, I personally do not like templates. You can tweak this around up and back and forth. But the point that he's trying to say is, I am so-and-so from so-and-so company. Did you know? Which is basically nothing but, you remember when we spoke about the made to stick, the unexpected, right? They're expecting something. And then when you give the unexpected, what is the reaction that you get out of the other human being? Oh, wow. Oh, really? Oh, my God. Right? So those are the different reactions that you want to evoke in them. So what is it that the reaction will be there? Did you know that every minute there are 15 baby boomers turning 60 in America? Wow, really? Right? So that's a statistic, or that's a data point that changes. Did you know that there are more people dying out of vaccines than more people being protected out of vaccines? I'm just making a random statement. Okay, I may be wrong. The government of India might actually put me in jail. I'm sorry, let me retract that statement. Right? So it is something that brings in the wow factor in what you're saying. Then you say, okay, so we are the people, we produce this product, or we produce this service, or we have come up with this idea that will help solve this problem, or that will help solve this challenge, or that will take this challenge or this particular business context and make you earn millions of rupees. So we see a big market in this. There is a X billion-dollar market in this particular business or service or product. And finally, we are the right people to do this because we have patented this, or we have 10 years of experience. Anyone else coming in to do this will not be able to do it. And then finally, some call to action. We would love to have a conversation with you on how you can monetize on this opportunity, right? So basically, who you are, what is the wow factor, or what is the big emotion creator in that particular context? How do you leverage on that emotion context, or how you leverage on the, did you know that? Why is it that you are the right person to do that? So this is the structure. If you want, you can copy it and take a screenshot. What we will do now is, I will put all of you in a breakout room. So three people per room. Let's say Ahmad, Samantha, and Vaibhav are in one room. What you will do is, the three of you will tell your business idea to the other person in a minute. It's a 7 minute break, breakout room. It's not a break, Stuart. Don't go. Go take a break and come back if you want, right? Yeah.
I like to stand.
Yeah, perfect. Go ahead. Right. So what I want you guys to do is, all the three of you in the breakout room, talk about your business and explain it to the other person in 1 minute. The other two, try to bring in the empathy perspective, tell them what is it that you understood or what is it that you did not understand. And then probably rephrase the same thing. And then when you come back, you will all present those 1 minute pitches, and then we will work out on them. The second breakout activity is where you will again go back to the room, but this time, instead of you talking about your idea, you will come back and talk. So Stuart will talk about Ahmad Hamid's idea, and Ahmad Hamid will talk about Samantha's idea, and Samantha will do a 1 minute elevator pitch for Stuart's idea. So that's basically to give you those different perspectives as to how your peers are looking at your business and your product. When we open the breakout rooms, I think we will allocate you to the same 2 rooms. I request team members from the same team not to go to the rooms. The people who are not the finalists or the winners from their chapters, you can go into those rooms, just observe, do not talk, let them talk. So are we all clear? Good. So you go into the breakout room, each of you takes 1 minute to explain your idea to the others. Then you take subjective feedbacks, which is again another 3 minutes. Use 3 more minutes to make it a little smoother. Come back. We all do like a 1 minute elevator pitch. Then we try to refine it so that we are able to help it, right? Someone's put something on the chat. How will we go to the breakout room? Yeah, we will push you into the breakout room. We will push you into the breakout room.
They have option of
Darsh?
choosing also.
Yeah, Darsak, are you doing that or you want me to create?
Yeah,
the
I'm
rooms?
creating that. How many rooms to be created?
10.
Yeah, well, let me-
You know
let
what?
me-
I've got it. Darsak, don't worry. I think I've got it.
Set.
Okay, I'm going to open up rooms and people can pick. Don't.
So pick one room wherever there's a W, and in case you end up in a room where a flow, just come out and come back and go to a different room. Yeah, room start now.
I don't know if you had done some work, Darsak, but I went ahead and found it was easy enough.
No problem. I was about to create it and
Anyone wants to volunteer? The first one to go.
Yeah, I'll be happy to take.
Yeah. Okay, Puran.
Yeah.
Ready?
Okay, let me
Wait.
start.
Let me put my timer on. You have exactly 1 minute. Okay. Ready? Your
Yeah.
time starts now.
I'm Puran from EA Polymer. Do you know that every year farmers are losing around 20 to 40% of yield due to the water shortage? We have developed a product that can help farmers to get 10 to 30% more yield with the less water. This product have opportunity of 9.7 billion of the market. We will be able to target 10% in the next few years. We have patented our technology and already sold around 1700 kilogram as a prototype to test our customers. We have our team in more than 3 agriculture engineers who will be our I'm sorry, that was actually the additional line I was trying to add, but yeah, that was not in the practice. So
Right. Cool. So you took around 47 seconds. Primarily, the structure relates to the person. There's a human touch to it when you bring in the farmers, saying that there's a lot of losses that are happening. You also bring in a little bit of credibility by saying that we have already sold 1,500 kilograms. So there, the credibility comes there. Okay, there are people who have accepted it. When those kind of words come, then credibility is slowly building up. Maybe I will look at the recording and then give you more feedback one-to-one tomorrow when we do the same workshop just within the 15 or 16 of you in a closed room tomorrow, right? Perfect.
Yeah.
Good. May I request Aaron to now go? I want the other teams to kind of take down notes, and then probably you can also give some feedback to the other teams when they're doing. Aaron, would you like to go?
Sure.
And you can use chat for giving feedback along the way today. So, yep, go for it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Dr. Aaron Enton. I'm representing Insight Optics. There are 154 million people in just the United States who are at risk of going completely blind because they don't get the care they need. We've built a smart mobile platform that enables the primary care physicians to capture patients who don't go to specialists where they already are without having to change the behavior that they already represent. We built this platform such that we do the heavy lifting with machine learning and computer vision so that the doctors know what they have captured and they know that it's of a diagnosable quality before they transmit it. We're already FDA approved. We've already got a reimbursement structure in place, and we already have paying customers. So if you want to talk to me, come talk to me.
Perfect. 56 seconds. So all the major points of saying that there's a huge number. So I always like to use this metaphor saying that there's a problem, but more importantly, what is it that makes people go wow is that there are so many people who have the same problem, right? So that is when you go, wow, right? So you said 120 million or 130 million, right? In the US alone. Now, when I am looking at it as an Indian sitting here, now I'm trying to calculate it based on the whole world. So I'm saying, okay, wow, that looks like almost 50 or 60 million people across, or rather close to 500 million people across the world who are at risk. It really is a big problem. I think I should talk to Aaron and see what we can do for it, right? So wonderful pitch, Aaron. Thanks. Maybe now can I ask Vaibhav? Where is Vaibhav?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Vaibhav.
Okay, so I'm Babu from Team QuickFind. Now, what a company does is it basically provides online to offline doorstep gadget repair services. This promotes transparency and reliability. We do not replace the parts. In India, a lot of people face this problem that whenever they go to a local repair center, the parts are replaced. Now, so to remove this, we provide doorstep repair service and also for comfortability. Now, except that when brand authorized service centers are contacted for certain, repair services, they charge a lot of money as well as they take a lot of time to repair the gadget. Now, this causes a problem in India because most of the people in India, 510 million smartphone users, or most of them are from rural India. So instead of going to a brand authorized service center to get a smartphone repaired, they would probably, it would be better to buy a new phone for the same cost. So this problem is addressed by a
perfect, no problem. That's a minute, right? So so probably we'll need to work with you, Vaibhav, get it, refine it more. There's a real big problem that's there, and like you said, it's a very India contextual problem. So you need to really bring in those big numbers when you talk about the number of people who have smartphones and the number of people who are probably the primary proposition that your business brings is that you're saving them the time, and especially in a context like post-COVID where people are now scared to go out, doorstep delivery of your devices or repairing of your devices, it could be a game changer. Of course, there are other people who are doing the same thing, so you need to bring in a context as to why you are the right team to it. Think over it. Rework on this, and when we do it tomorrow, we will work on a very specific thing so that it can help you. At the same point of time, I want all of you to also, I'm putting this as a challenge to all of you, is that over the last 10 years, probably there have been hundreds and thousands of facilitators and workshops like this who have trained people with these templates, right? I am so-and-so, I represent so-and-so, there's this, did you know that? And there's this problem. Can you come up with something that's just mind-boggling, out of the world, still probably fits into the structure, not in the same way? So who says that you have to tell your name the first? Maybe I would say, I don't even say my name. It's costing me 3 seconds. Let me use those 3 seconds to probably bring in more perspectives of the problem. So there's something for you to think over between today and tomorrow. Like I said, templates are there for people to get structures, but don't follow them blindly, right? So Stuart, would you like to go next?
Sure. Just gonna do a practice.
Ready? Yeah.
When you're ready?
Yeah, ready. Your time starts now.
Hi everyone, I'm Stuart from Power Park. Did you know that it takes 3 to 30 minutes to steal an electric scooter? And the average commute in cities is 19 kilometers, but the battery life of a scooter is only 15 kilometers. We produce stations to park, charge, and lock electric scooters on streets and universities, on office blocks. The market is scheduled to be worth 43 billion by the year 2030. We have a working prototype ready for a pilot. We've received multiple LOIs and offering our pilots, and we're now exploring our IP protection as we have validated our freedom to operate. If you own a university, office space, or rideshare company, let's connect.
Perfect. That's 49 seconds. And I think the more lesser time that you take, there's more possibility that the person has given more attention to it. So do not go by the fact that you have been given 60 seconds. It's not necessary that you have to use the entire 60 seconds. If you think you can tell your story and make that emotional impact on the audience in 40 seconds and 35 seconds, just go ahead and make it, right? Now we'll go to Ahmed, but now Ahmed, I'm changing the game. Ahmed, now you have to pitch one of your other room members' pitch. Go ahead and do it.
Okay, well, we'll give a little bit more attention to Power Park. Power Park they're building a docking station where they're going to have people bringing their scooters to work or to their universities, have the ability to charge the stations while they're charge the scooters while they're away, and make sure that they're safe so that when they do come back, they're ready to go. This is going to be a way for people to be able to utilize their scooters in a more reliable way.
Cool. Stuart, do you think that brought in a different perspective to your way of thinking? If no, no. If yes, yes.
Yes,
right?
yes. It was more conversational.
Right. So, so like I said, everything is not black and white. There's always a lot of gray. So, depending upon the tone, depending upon the context, depending upon whether it's a competition, depending upon whether it's a real life scenario, you need to tweak it. And this is something that it'll come out of experience of doing it again and again. But I think fundamentally, if you look at the core of this whole thing, it's that human connect. And okay, there's a big problem that the world is facing, and I am Superman, and I will save that world. And if you want to ride with me on this drive, come, let's talk. So if you can bring in that core, I think that makes the big deal. Let me move to one of our Indian friends now. Okay, Samir, who was there in your room?
Yeah, Vaibhav was there and Taylor was there.
Okay, so why don't you do a 1 minute elevator pitch for Taylor?
Yeah, so hello. We actually do flood work over there, and we also aim to expand to watershed. Basically, we have a lot of technical stuff going on in there, and we do the mapping of the watershed so as to prevent the floods. And if we get the watershed part, then we also plan to go to the watershed. That is the future plan which we are expecting to get out of the company.
Right. But that don't look more like you explaining the pitch rather than explaining the business rather than the 1 minute pitch.
Yes,
so the question I have for Taylor is this, okay? I do not know what happened in the room. I'm not judging, but I'm putting a question across to you, Taylor, right? Do you think maybe you could have told Samir in a different way so that he could have remembered it? It could have stuck to him. And when he came back, there was one powerful message that he took back so that whatever you wanted to convey. Like, for example, we are helping more than hundreds and thousands of people in Florida to be staying protected from floods. So that's the core of what you're doing, right? If Samir forgets everything else, it still doesn't matter. Now the jury is at least, wow, okay, they're trying to save 100,000 lives. So that is what I meant by making the message to stick, to see if you can bring in that human element. Many a times in these kind of templated elevator pitches, the human touch is lost. The meaning to that person is lost. So if you can distill it down to make some human connect, it will make a lot more difference. So think over it. I am not judging whether you're right or wrong. All I'm trying to say is, if in a room after 9 minutes, this other person has not remembered what you said, then maybe there's some homework that we may need to do, right? It holds true for all of us, right? Okay. Could we ask Samantha to go next?
Yes. Hold on.
Yes. Your time starts now.
Oh, hi, I'm Samantha from WXH. Did you know that people have been decorating their walls for over 40,000 years? There are 3 problems that you need to overcome when decorating your walls. There's discovering the art you want, deciding how it fits in your space, and finally executing that design. There's no tools on the market that helps you to solve all 3 problems. So we produce an app that helps people solve this challenge. You just scan your wall and your art. We'll determine the dimensions of your space and provide you with a recommended layout and exact placement measurements. We'll also suggest new artwork that matches your style. The interior design and home decor markets are growing. We can capture 39% of that market by helping do-it-yourself enthusiasts. With a potential $7 billion opportunity, we can get there. We have experience building software, and we hope you will join our beta testers coming up.
Perfect. Thank you. So one observation is probably also the fact that maybe the accent that you have, I do not know. I was not able to follow on a few words. So the alert that I want to give you is that maybe your jury members will probably feel the same if they're not all Americans or whatever. So probably work on that. The other thing that again I want to throw as a challenge to all of you is I am bored of did you know that, right? So there are going to be 100 companies say using the same word, did you know that, right? So maybe in Samantha's case, I would say, when was the last time you bought art and you realized that it did not fit into the walls that you have in your house? Do you remember that? Yes, I have like 10 pieces of art lying in my wardrobe. Is what will be going on in time. Now you don't need to do that because we have got a simple app that's going to do this for you. In one instant, you can see how your wall is going to look, and all this is based on geometry and mathematics, right? So you get the point that I'm trying to see. That's the reason why I'm constantly saying I don't like these templates, because then what happens is 15 teams, one after the other, is coming. Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you know that? It looks like one of those Guinness Book of World Records TV series, right? Because all of you have been trained on that. So see if you can stand out. Can you break the pattern? But let me assure you, it's a very risky business to do that. Sometimes sticking to the pattern makes sense, but breaking the pattern always has its risk. It always has its benefits as well. Brian from Dallas, would you like to go next?
Okay. All right. Sure. When?
You want to do your own business or someone else's business?
I can do mine.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Brian from Survivor. Right now in America, there's a big disconnect between police training and real world situations. People in our communities aren't going home at night because police officers aren't prepared to empathize with people and handle complex situations. Survivor makes communities safer by providing realistic training that teaches de-escalation skills and reduces response times. We serve law enforcement agencies from city to military, and we've booked 1.1 million in revenue across 10 states. Our team is 50% law enforcement, and we're raising our second round to accelerate our public safety impact.
Perfect. Okay, so this is the way I would like to ask you this question, Brian, is do you think this has kind of a direct connect to the Black Lives Matter movement that started where I forget the gentleman's name. I think the police officer was convicted yesterday, right? I think he's been sentenced to many years. Does this have a strong relation to that?
It does. I try to be very careful how we make any connections to that.
Right. So I understand that there is always the sensitive part of whether you want to touch that subject or no. But maybe sometimes bringing in those metaphors or those contexts makes it really human and makes people relate to it much faster. You save like 20 seconds. But like I said, it's always, there's a small thin line between whether it is sensitive and not sensitive. Maybe in your context, it's very sensitive, especially given the context that yesterday was when the policeman was convicted. But the advantage is metaphors is that now in one word or two words, it's helping you save 20 or 30 seconds of time that you would have otherwise used for explaining it. So that's where these metaphors help. So try to work on some of those metaphors. Maybe it will surely help you, right? Sai Charan?
Yeah. So
Can't hear you, Sai Charan.
can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'll be doing my own pitch.
Yeah, your time starts now.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Charan from Delta Now. There are huge chunks of data being generated by the higher education segment year on year. But do you really think that any of this data is being put to meaningful use? We do just that. I am from Delta Now, and Delta Now puts tons of these data to use with the intention of helping higher education students make more informed career decisions. We've been operational for over a year now in closed beta in one university with an active user base of approximately 10,000. That's it.
Right. Now, let me ask who's there? Charan from Chennai. Can you repeat what Sai Charan said?
Yeah, so there are some large chunks of data which are being generated by higher education students. So basically, he uses that to help them, and he has been working with the university, which has some 10,000 students.
Right. So I think the easy thing for Charan was to catch was that the university and college, because it's something that he's also doing. So when you bring in words that people can relate to, it's easier for them to grasp it. So see if your elevator pitch can bring in that. Like I said, I'm going back again to the same word. It's all about the humanness or bringing the human touch to the whole thing. Numbers, data, all that thing doesn't matter. What is it that your product or your service can do for human beings? How can it make lives of students better is what people are looking at. Yes, we will make money out of it. That's the outcome of the result, but that's not the primary thing. So the primary thing is the human connect or what you do. Now let me change the game a little bit. I will ask Kanchan. Kanchan, you were in one of the rooms. Can you tell me from whatever you heard from them, one of the elevator pitches or one of the businesses that you heard there? Not exactly in the same words, but in what you understood from him.
Right. So yeah. So one was of course Delta Now. The other one was Survivor, and I really appreciate both of their attempts to present very well presented. Requires some obviously touch-ups. I'll talk about Survivor. So Survivor is the startup which is looking at providing the right kind of training, I guess, to the people. So to the police folks or also people from the community, so that they are able to handle sensitive situations better. And Survivor helps them to do that. They've already they are generating revenues and they're looking to raise funds. I think so some I think he mentioned some $750,000. So I think that was really nice, because as an investor I would be wanting to know what exactly am I supposed to do now. I mean, after you presented, am I how much are they expecting, or what is the deal here? So I like the fact that Brian mentioned the amount, and which makes it simpler for me to kind of understand where is he coming from. In terms of size presentation, it was about Delta Now, about how they are providing these students who are going for higher education courses. They are providing them with various options so that they are able to make their better choices from the options available. Yeah, so I would have really appreciated if Sai would have clearly come up, would have been more direct by saying what exactly does he want to do with after presenting, basically what does he want the audience to do, so yeah.
So the call to action is basically like in a very investment context, the elevator pitch is going to be just to convince the other person that there's a big opportunity, and he can ride that wave if he calls you or meets you or discusses with you. There's a call to action. At the same time, based on the feedback that Kanchan gave, there are some lessons that probably Brian and Sai also need to take, right? Kanchan made a statement saying that I like that he spoke about numbers, but Kanchan didn't remember the number, right? We don't remember numbers. We don't remember data, right? We remember what is it that as a human I am able to understand. The other thing, Brian, again, like I said, this is a very subjective thing. In an Indian context, we never use the word law enforcement. Kanchan used the word police forces, right? So when, let's say you have a jury member there, maybe you need to bring in that aspect. So let's say it's an Indian jury member. Law enforcement may not be a word that they're regularly accustomed to. They do not use that. We use the word police. For us, we remember police. So in a competition kind of a context, this is very important, because maybe when you're actually pitching to investors, you may be pitching only to investors in the US. But here in a competition perspective, your jury member could be from anywhere in the world. And assuming that Thai has a big presence in India, don't be surprised if there are at least 2 jury members from India. So then you need to bring in that Indianization of the word, right? Similarly, I like what Kanchan gave on Sai is that there was no call to action from Sai's thing. Yes, you have a good business, but what do I do now? Should I go? Should I feel happy? Should I feel sad? Should I meet you? Should I not meet you? Do you have investors already? I do not know. You have kind of closed it because you wanted it closed fast. So bring the excitement. Tell them why you are the person who can solve that excitement, or you are the right person to be the driver for that excitement, and tell them what they need to do next. Everyone wants to know, what should I do now, right? So give them a clear call to action, right? So I think we are on the hour. What I would like all of you to do as a homework is, if you could phrase your 1 minute elevator pitch, either put it on a document, or if you want to record it as a 1 minute video and send it across over to 98. I think, Lopez, do you think they can all put it in the WhatsApp group so everyone learns, or do you think it would be better if they send it privately to you?
You decide.
Okay, so what I will do is I will go ahead and post a message in the WhatsApp group so you know what my number is. If you want to send it privately to me, you could send it to me. What I will do is I will really analyze it word by word tomorrow, and then tomorrow when we do a closed door workshop, we can all give feedback to one another and look at it. If you put it on the WhatsApp group, well and good. If you think there's not much confidential stuff that's there, go ahead and put it. If that happens, I would request the other teams also to look at it, understand what you get out of it, rephrase it in your own terms, and probably tomorrow when we meet, you could give your other peers from the other countries or other teams some insights into how you look at it. Right? Good. So we are closing right now officially for the workshop. If there are any questions or anything you would like to ask about the competition overall, we are here to answer them. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you. I hope I added some value to you, and I hope I made a difference to your life. And I hope all of you become great storytellers. Thank you so much.